Good morning, guys. Welcome to Across the Grid Ryan. And why am I sitting here wearing an Arsenal top and a Cowboys hat? Keep watching the video and you will find out why. It's NFL Sunday in the United Kingdom. Thank you for watching the channel. And we've gotten about 25 subscribers. Still a little bit low. So, guys, as you keep watching this, if you like the content, please hit the subscribe button and help us grow this channel. This video is going to be about Dak Prescott. And in case you haven't noticed, throughout this whole week leading up to the game against the San Francisco 49ers, Dak Prescott is pretty much trash. This is exactly what you're hearing. He's not a good quarterback. He's the one holding the Cowboys back. He hasn't really done anything for the Cowboys, and he'll be the reason why they lose this Sunday. And that's what you'll probably be hearing. Now, if you don't know anything, about football, and you're listening to everything the media is talking about, you would be inclined to think so. There is no way this quarterback is going to excel against the 49ers. I mean, we're talking about the 49ers here. We're talking about the great Brock Purdy, right? Who's had all his starts in the NFL, winning all of them. I wonder who's done that before. I remember a quarterback who used to be on the roster in New England called Jimmy Garoppolo. And he moved to the San Francisco 49ers. And his first 7 starts, he was 7-0. What did they do? They smashed him with a huge contract. I mean, how did that turn out? Well, I'll let you guys decide. I'll let you people go and do your research. Do your research, and think about, where have we seen this before? Where everyone jumped on the bandwagon of Jimmy G. He was the next thing. He's better than Tom Brady. He was the reason why Tom Brady was going to have to step down in New England Patriots, and Bill Belichick, had to go upstairs to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo because he was a threat to Tom Brady. Tom Brady, who's won over 5 Super Bowl medals. Okay, so the narrative continues to spin because you know what? When it comes to Dak Prescott, we would use anything and everything to discredit what this young man has done. You talk about adversity, everyone is saying Brock Purdy, is coming to adversity. Can anyone remember 2016 when Dak Prescott came into the league? Do you remember what happened? Well, Tony Romo was the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And preseason game, I think it was against the Seattle Seahawks. A couple of minutes into that preseason game, he goes down. What does Dak Prescott come in? He comes in, boom. Dak Prescott is the starter. Do you remember Dak Prescott going to Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers, and smacked them all over the place? Won that game. He also went to Washington Commanders. Washington was a decent team back then. Kirk Cousins was the quarterback then. Got a win. He went to Pittsburgh Steelers. Everyone remembers that game. Zeke broke out into the edge and ran over screen. It was a screen pass, ran over for a touchdown. Dak Prescott won the job from Tony Romo. Hasn't looked back since. At the end of that season, if you remember 2017, everyone was saying, well, it was all about Zeke. Dak Prescott didn't do much. He won the league. He won top of the conference. He was a number 1 seed in that season, a rookie, 13-3. Now, he played an unbelievable game at Green Bay, but you know how difficult it is in the NFL to beat a team once, never mind beating them twice. So he lost that game by very strange circumstances, but he played very well. Lost that game. And then what did everyone say? Well, it had to be Zeke. Dak Prescott was dinking and dacking, couldn't really do anything. Now, I don't hear anyone talking about Brock Purdy like that. Because if I recall right now, Brock Purdy has Christian McCaffrey, who's arguably the best running back right now in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey last game had 4 touchdowns, right? So I don't hear anybody talking about Brock Purdy being a game manager. I don't hear anybody talking about Brock Purdy, just being average. They're talking about Brock Purdy even winning the MVP. Has he played with adversity? Nobody wants to talk about that. One of the other things that they say about Dak Prescott, especially this season, is that the Cowboys cannot perform if they are not leading. Now, I wonder which other team has always been playing with a win, with a lead. San Francisco 49ers. Did you know that most of their games this season, they played with a lead? In fact, what was it? That since Brock Purdy came into the league, the San Francisco 49ers have ever only been behind for something about 40 minutes. Most times they play with a lead. Now that's not a knock on the San Francisco 49ers, but it is a knock on the Dallas Cowboys. Very interesting. Now, Dak Prescott, if you look at 2019, what they were saying about Dak Prescott, what were they saying? He's piling up the stats against bad teams. Doesn't do very well against the great teams. Just piling up the stats against the bad teams. Now, you play who you play, right? You play the team in front of you. And when you have an opposition that is less inferior than you are, what do? You just go out there and win. I don't understand why that is a knock. Why is that a knock against the Dallas Cowboys for winning against teams that are not very, very good? Now, every team in the NFL at some point struggle against good teams. There are no teams that go unbeaten. Now, you would think that the San Francisco 49ers have never lost a game since Kyle Shanahan has been there as their coach. But everyone is piling on Mike McCarthy. They don't know what he's doing. He's not very good at clock management. He's not very good at calling plays. This man has come into the Dallas Cowboys and has gone 12 wins in 2 seasons back to back. And one of them, he did it with his starting quarterback not being around for over 4 games. Let that sink in. If you remember what happened to the 49ers when Jimmy Garoppolo went in and then they had some injuries and everyone was just throwing quarterbacks here and there, how they fared. Now everyone forgets all about that. But Kyle Shanahan is the greatest coach. And listen, right? Nothing against Kyle Shanahan. He's a very, very good play caller, very, very good coach. But I think this narrative that, he is suddenly so superior than any other coach in the NFL is not really accurate. And Brock Purdy may actually go on to win multiple Super Bowls and he will actually be an MVP and all of that stuff. But right now, he's not there yet. He's not even had a full season of games in the NFL, and we're already proclaiming him like the best thing that's ever happened. Now I said, why am I wearing an Arsenal shirt and a Dallas Cowboys hat? Well, today is Sunday, but it's also in the UK a very big game for the Arsenal Football Club. Now that's football in the United Kingdom, and I support the Arsenal football team. And basically, Arsenal goes up against Manchester City. Now, if you've not heard about Manchester City, they're a team that only simply won the treble. And that what that means is that they won the Premier League. They also won the Champions League last season, and they also won the FA Cup. Now, that's something that is very, very, very hard to do. In fact, the only team that did that was Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United back in 1999, I believe. So today is a tough game for Arsenal. So I'll be representing Arsenal as well as representing the Cowboys as they go and get the business done against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, why do I believe that Dak Prescott is going to perform very well today? Because I think he's just simply better than Brock Purdy. I believe he is. And And if you just look at Dak Prescott's record, history tells you that he's the better quarterback. Now, nobody always talks about all the things that you need to win games in the NFL. You can't do it all by yourselves. And by goodness, San Francisco 49ers have so much in their team that helps them to win. We're talking about Deebo Samuel. We're talking about George Kittle. We're talking about Christian McCaffrey. We're talking about Brandon Ayuk. If you go on the defense side, we're talking about Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, right? So you've got all of that going for you. So no player does it all by himself. Now, if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, we've lost a couple of weapons. Trevor Diggs was a great loss to the team, but we've got players too. And I believe that this game is not going to be like the game in the playoffs. And now I'm not saying that it might not be a low scoring game, but I just feel like what Dak has got to throw to in this game, and don't forget, Tony Pollard went off injured in that game. Now imagine Christian McCaffrey. Now I don't wish bad on anyone, but imagine if he went off in a game when the San Francisco 49ers were playing. How different that team will look. Now you know that you don't have a threat from Christian McCaffrey, and all you have to do is make them one-dimensional, which is exactly what happened to Dak. And it's a common tactic, right? You make a quarterback one-dimensional, it's very, very easy to defend that quarterback. So I believe in this game, I think that the Dallas Cowboys special teams is actually better than 49ers. Nobody really talks about that. But this special team has scored touchdowns this season. Can't think of the 49ers special teams doing that. Our defense have scored 4 touchdowns this season. So is it going to be a tough game? Absolutely. But there's one thing that I've noticed in the NFL, and I keep saying Premier League because I'm also a Premier League fan, and you get to hear that as well. So it's very difficult to beat teams 3 in a row. It's difficult to beat teams 2 in a row as well. Now, if you look at the history of the Dallas Cowboys, there have been teams that have fallen into the same category. Can anyone remember the Seattle Seahawks? Every time the Dallas Cowboys met the Seattle Seahawks, we always lost. And then what happened? We beat them. And anyone remember the Rams as well? We always used to lose against the Rams. And then what happened? We lost to them in the playoffs. And then the next season, we beat them in the regular season. I think that was week 3 or so. Now, I predict that Dallas Cowboys are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers. But I also predict that the narrative is going to switch, right? It's not going to be, Dallas Cowboys beat the San Francisco 49ers, so now they're a better team. They're going to say, well, you know what? Show me in the postseason. If you beat the San Francisco 49ers in the postseason, we'll start to take you seriously. That's exactly what's going to happen. And, I just feel like, they just don't get the right kind of credit. Now, I think the San Francisco 49ers are as worried as the Dallas Cowboys is worried about the 49ers. And I think that Dak is going to go out there and just prove everyone that he's about this business. This is a young man that has withstood people talking about, Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott. Where is Carson Wentz? I'm not even sure he's still in the league. How many players have been compared to be better than Dak Prescott, and all Dak Prescott continues to do is just win? Some of those players have moved from team to team and things like that. But Dak Prescott is a constant, and when you have Dak Prescott, you win games. That is just a fact. So, Cowboys, 49ers will be a great game. I'm expecting the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. Let's go.